Okay, welcome to the Forbidden History series. This is NinjaCat, and you're here with Dezert-Owl as well. And sorry, that wasn't a very good intro. We're just doing a quick test of the broadcast. I'd like to welcome everybody to the program and g'day Desert. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hey, testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, we'll just wait and see with the delay. G'day. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
audio
just getting
check.
the.
Am I coming on this meter? I should be on the
Yeah,
meter,
you're
right?
on the meter. You're on the meter.
On the meter. Okay, if I'm on the meter, just don't run up the bill too high, okay?
Okay, I'll
Let's
do
do
my
it.
best.
10-10 on Lynn. So we got 10-10. And we're balanced also, Lynn. I'm not too, we're pretty balanced. Balance check. Balance.
Yeah,
Talk,
10,
Ninja.
10, 10.
Sing.
That's
10
10.
10. Well,
Yeah.
right, but that we're both okay, good. I
Yeah.
get. All right, I got
I'm
you.
looking. I'm looking
I
at the
can I
meter.
can
It's all good.
let's do it.
I just want to say g'day to everybody.
All right.
um, who have we got? G'day Lynn, Janine, and Yo Janine, and Phoenix Fox. Is that you? Fix it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fix
it
it.
is. I
Yeah,
read it.
I just read it.
Right.
And Rose, g'day. Thank you all for joining, and we'll get on with the broadcast. Yay! Good to be here. Sorry, just
Hey there, Jackie. Good to have you.
g'day, Jackie. Okay,
Hmm?
yeah, sorry. I'm doing really well here. Okay, welcome to the broadcast. Ready to be deprogrammed? I am. I'll just read this intro written by Desert-Owl. The Signs of the Times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time. Who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology, and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end they intend to kill us all. They've given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark. Hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. Written by Dezert-Owl, who I'd like to welcome to the program. I just got... Sorry.
Should you Skype you as well at the same time, Ninja? So double communicate here. And
Yeah.
hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. You?
Is that a code for lousy?
Right now,
Toughing it out and ready to crumble in certain ways. Okay, I read you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't stop, and I don't know how she does it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so grateful for Ninja because she,
Oh.
is at the worst extreme of existence right now, being overwhelmed by a job that nobody should have because there's no time, no break, and she doesn't make enough to save. So it's the cycle at the point when it's all over. There's nothing in her back pocket to help her, to relocate or anything. And so she certainly welcomes your prayers and your support if there's any way you could help her. She's going to try to move as soon as possible to get in another situation that is accommodating. Her mom needs professional help, and she's not getting any professional help, and Ninja gets no help at all from the family nor from the system. The system is designed to crush, kill, and destroy, and that's basically what it's doing there. So she's going up at the same time she's. If she weren't going up, she would have already gone down
Yes.
to the rock bottom. And so that's the
Yes.
beauty behind Yeshua and knowing the truth. She hangs in there through creating light and knowing that there is a sunrise that comes. That's what kept me going, Ninja, when I was being railroaded by the state of West Virginia and the criminal Masons. That I knew the sun rose every day. We never
Yeah.
questioned whether the sun will rise, and so I knew who I was serving all my life, and therefore I knew that my vindication would come. I knew all the stories in the old covenant. Show me a story that didn't have the vindication from the family, that trusted, that knew the truth. Whether it was Daniel or his friends in Babylon, even Zavramhaim in Babylon. If you read the book of Jasher, you find out he was 3 days and 3 nights in the fiery pit. That's why Zavramhaim got the sovereign title, which is Zavramhaim. That's not his name. That's his title. We don't know what his name was before he got the sovereign title of Zavramhaim. Actually, it was Zavram. It was Zavram, but then the father gave him Zavramhaim, the plurality, because he was going to be the tribe of many nations, and that's when his title from Zavram became, Zavramhaim. So anyway, Ninja's doing it. Look at what she does with her efforts, and she's making lemonade out of lemons. So congratulations, Ninja. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for that, Desert.
Mhm.
I needed to hear that, so thank you.
You bet.
It's been one of those days. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was reviewing Sunday's program because we had some technical glitches, and if anybody has and it happened on Friday with us as well here on NinjaCat, and if you get any slowing down of the words, I found out, when I was trying to listen because the graphics weren't changing, I found out that my voice was slurring. Then at the end yesterday, the music was slurring. It happened with Ninja at the end of the program, and so it's like the
Wow.
speed. The
Wow.
speed is reduced. The speed is reduced by about 25%.
Wow.
So it's like slowing down a record. It's going
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
slow like that. And so if that's happening, then we need to know about it. Please let us know, okay? Because um,
Wow. The
we're
latest
having. I think they
shenanigans.
figured out. I think this is what they have done, ninjas. They figured out how, since they don't want to just clip us and drop us to be too obvious to all the people who solicit, YouTube. I think
Yeah.
they're doing little tricks that ultimately will make us want to just fold and give up because
Yeah, they're
nothing works.
messing with the
Nothing.
quality and all the hard work
Nothing.
we've done
Yeah,
to
now I don't get
yeah.
notices of people when they leave comments.
Yeah. Me neither.
It's just yeah, I did yeah,
Yeah.
hmm yeah. So that's the
Yep.
way it goes.
Yep. That's the way it goes.
Uh, Thank you, Jackie, for your kind thoughts. Well, we may have to go ultimately to Patreon, or there's one or two other forums out there now that are coming up that will be competitive with the ThemTube channel. And so we'll look at that. But Ninja, in my review, I saw that you were playing with the word spell and sleep, and I noticed that. So isn't it interesting
Yeah.
that the word spell,
Yeah.
you do the anagram, you get sleep because that's what
Yes.
happens when you go under the spell. You
Yeah.
go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Sorry,
Go to
I
sleep.
keep losing my voice. Yeah,
Go
that's
to
what I was
sleep.
saying, but I didn't know if it was correct. Yeah.
Well, sure.
Thank
And
you.
not only that, but you can get sleep backwards as peel. So it's like peeling your brain with
Wow.
the
Wow.
potato. You know,
Wow.
and making you a mental midget after a certain amount of time, right? Like that's why adults like to watch Bart Simpson, I guess. I've never done it, but they do.
I know a certain relative of mine that does. Yeah, they even have a blow up one with a Santa hat that they put on the
Yeah.
front lawn at Christmas time.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right, but notice that the word spell in the prime suffix is pel,
Yeah.
P-E-L-L, which is the prime root of the word pelt. A pelt is something you put on, and a
Yeah.
pill is something you take, and then it puts it on your mind. So the
Wow.
pel is the spell that you put on because you can take it off. The good news is if you can put it on, ladies and gentlemen, you can take it off. Okay, and that's what we attempt to do here is to show you how to take off the spell that they put upon you because it's not a supernatural power. It's just a great
It's
magician's
yeah,
trick
yeah. It's a
that they
trick.
played on us. It's
Yeah.
all illusion, all illusion. They want us to go spell, read the go spell, yeah, but you can't, and so that's what we talk about here. So, Ninja, did I had some interesting right out the gate presentation here. I saw as I was priming today. So, unless you want to do something real quick, I've got something. So, what do we want? Where do you want to go? It's your program.
Oh, sorry, I have no voice.
All right.
We'll
Then
get.
you want to
Yeah,
take a
that's
break?
great for broadcasting. Yeah. No,
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
all good. We'll get straight into what you have, Desert, because I had no time to prepare for
Oh,
anything
okay.
today.
Yeah, and
So,
then you just
yeah, I just want to
okay.
say, creating light for California continuously at the moment. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it's terrific. That's where I'm going to
yeah.
start actually.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, good, good.
Yeah, and so and want to welcome everybody to the broadcast here, and we're grateful. The truth is actually not meant for the many, ladies and gentlemen. That's the great irony. We would want everyone to know what is really going down in our world, but that's not the way it is. See, what did the scripture say? That many seek to enter in, but few will be saved, because most are not willing to do what it takes to die to this world. They want to take the world with them, actually. And that's the thing that we can't do. We have to die to this world, and guess what? They're coming to kill us anyway. So, I mean, what better idea could there be than to die to this world? Because we can either do it ourselves metaphysically within the mind and within our action, our positive action, or there's going to be somebody doing it for us, because
Yeah,
we thought maybe we have the benefit of living till old age and dying in our beds with our family around us. But it doesn't look that way. It looks like a cell for many of us, or a rail car, or maybe we'll just get the bullet like me at the back of the train, because I won't even be allowed on the train because they don't want me infecting everybody else on the train. You know what I mean? So they'll have to take care of me at the back of the train. But the yeah, we have to die to this world, and when you die to this world, then that's when you begin to rise from the dead. You
yeah,
see, that's when the process begins, because we realize that there's something greater, there's something more important, that we have a nature that has been hiding from us. Talk about being under the spell. We fail to recognize that we are eternal beings. We only look at the surface and think that we're just here today, gone tomorrow, and don't recognize that we have to go somewhere when we cross this event horizon of planet Earth. And if we don't, and if we're not clothed, as the scripture says, to be clothed with the light, to be clothed with the truth, to be clothed in the pure white garment, then guess what? And you're not clothed. And therefore you're naked, and therefore you can't go where we all would really want to go, right? And that's to the great light, and back home to the source of all of our being. And so I don't know where we go, when we can't make it back. But I like to think of these psychopaths just floating in the darkness of space, unclothed and freezing to death, because it's going to be pretty cold out there, being naked and nowhere to go. And so the soul, I guess, just wanders until maybe the great Father of Light allows them to come back. But of course, the decent people that just didn't get it, because they were put under the spell and the mind control. Well, I think the Father will be very merciful, and because He is divine love, therefore the other people, they won't be tortured, and they're just going to, maybe they'll be like being asleep, and then they wake up again in another world somewhere else with another opportunity. Because obviously, if we don't follow the law, if we don't follow the truth, because the truth is not a part of any lie, let's ask the question. Well, then you don't go back. But let's ask the question: why did they work so hard to create so many lies? If the lies aren't important about forbidding you to be able to transcend, why didn't they just give us the book? Oh, go do what you want to do. Go do your thing, and we'll do our thing over here. We hate your guts, but get out of here. And then we can live our lives the way we want. But instead, they worked night and day in the dungeons overtime to perfect the false narrative,
yeah,
the false names, the false titles, the false hoods, like that one, the hoods, the priest hoods. They're we in New Jersey. We grew up. We called ourselves hoods. Yeah, man. I got my
yeah,
leather jacket,
yeah,
got my featherweight shoes, got my silk socks on. Don't mess with me. I'm a hood. And and we also found out they were hoots also, and the hoods, the D and the D separate, and you get the hood or the hood. So we're in a psychopathic world that they have in other words, in order to cover the first lie, they had to create a million lies. A million lies cover the first lie. What is the first lie? About what are the primary lies, ladies and gentlemen, about who we really are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, who the Aryan race really is, and which is the first made man was Adam, and taken up to the throne of the sun, falsely called Eden, which is the atom, the garden of the atoms, because that's all the sun is a garden of charged atoms. And while there as a spirit, apparently, he then named all things. While Yeshua made all things on earth, that's why he knew about the galaxy going around, every 26,000 years on the big clock. The galaxy of the what's called the Mesoros, the Mazor. Oh, it's same as bread. Bread is matzor, not matzah, but matzor. And there's the stars, the matzorot. So when you're eating the bread, taking the covenant, once a week, then you're also eating the matzah, meaning you're eating the creation, you're eating everything. That's why when Yeshua said, "You must consume me," because when we consume Him, then it means that we are consuming all things. We are coming to know what the creation is really all about. It's a great mystery, but it unfolds. We've been lied to about everything, and so practically, I'm gonna hope I can stay on the trail here because I get. You don't need to put that quote up, Ninja, because that's people are don't want to read while we're talking. Put a nice picture up of some sort, okay? Because that's
Okay, I'll
a
find something.
distraction. Okay, and so symbolism is what we're talking about, okay? And so what was the symbolism in California? It was uh, a Hindu. Remember, I talk about the unseen hand, and I take it back to the Aryans and the ancient Brahmin priesthood. Who Brahmin is Avram. They changed the words, they abbreviate the words so we don't get it, and then and so they call themselves the sovereigns. Okay, the sovereigns. And that's too pastel. Get something nicer. That's too much pastel. uh, and um, and so the um, the uh, the unseen hand. In other words, the Hindus are the front for the ancient Aryan Brahmin. It's always the layers of onion, right? The front. And so we've got the Vatican, but behind the Vatican is the unseen hand. And so, as I've been saying, they are the fallen watchers. The heritage and lineage is the fallen watchers. And so um, we never see them. That's why they're called the unseen hand, right? My friend Ralph Epperson, who wrote the book called The Unseen Hand, is the one who coined the term. And after he graduated from university, he told his friends, "Well, yeah, I'm going to be a professor now in history, and I just learned all the history from all I just graduated." And he says, "Well, yeah, you don't know the history, Ralph." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you don't know the forbid how did he say it the conspiratorial view of history, the conspiratorial view of history." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, there's another view of history that you're not privy to." And so that's when Ralph had a wake up through his friend, and he then went to writing the book The Unseen Hand, and from writing The Unseen Hand, then Ralph wrote a whole series of books about Jesse James, about the Knights of the Golden Circle, and on and on and on. So uh, the the unseen hand is therefore represented in the movies as Hindu. Okay, when you see the brown, what's called the Dravidic culture, which they look Aryan but they're dark brown skin, then that's representing the Hindu. But behind it is the Aryan watchers, the fallen ones who conquered the world. Remember, I just defined watchers on the last two programs, as being the Los Angeles. Remember, I defined Los
Yeah,
Angeles, and Los Angeles is the lost angels, the lost watchers.
yeah.
Okay,
The
that
City of
at
Angels, I
the
heard it
yeah,
referred to the other day, just the other
yeah,
day. Yeah.
yeah. You see, and so still trying to get another one, and you get something with nice soft colors, like the ocean or something. This is
Yeah,
just
sorry, I'm looking.
uh,
I still haven't
okay.
had a chance to finish organizing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. All right. And
I'm looking.
so anyway, bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, when we saw, let me give you one example. Okay. So you remember the movie The Matrix, and so we saw Neo, right? Neo, when he knew the truth, he wouldn't even have to dodge bullets. Bullets could no longer hurt him. They stop before they even reach him, right? And then so he's then at the end we see him flying through the air like Superman, right? He's got a Jesuit dress on, and because we thought he was our guy, but he was really representing their guy. You see, it's a double play. Which one is it? The right hand, left hand, good guy, bad guy. Which one? So there's always a double theme. It could be the good guy or the bad guy, depending upon how you're interpreting it. And so then so he represents the secret societies, and because he's wearing a Jesuit robe, obviously. And so then in the next movie, we see him stuck in a train station. And remember these late movies, of late, they all have a train. People
Yeah.
getting on the train, like the movie Extinction, or
Yep.
the other ones. And so there's a series of movies that now you get on the train at the end, because if you don't get on the train, you're going to miss it, and therefore you're going to be stuck above ground. And so anyway, so in the second Matrix, and Neo, he's stuck in the train station and can't seem to get out for some reason. And so while he's stuck there, then there's a Hindu family, and they're very elegant, man and wife with a beautiful daughter, and they're just sitting on the bench waiting for the train to come. And then finally the train comes, and so the Hindu family are going to get on the train, and they get on the train real easy. And then all of a sudden, Neo tries to walk on the train. Then this big burly guy pushes him back, says, "Where do you think you're going? You can't come on this train." And geez, I thought Neo had all power. I thought he didn't have to dodge bullets, and all of a sudden he can't get on the train. What's going on? So you see, the bottom line is what this is telling all the priesthood and all the secret societies: if you don't do your job, boy, you're not getting on the train, because we control the train. You see, and he's the timekeeper also, right? The train guy that runs the train, keeping the clock. Everything's on his time, and so that's how we've got to see it. So when we saw in California on television, we got a Hindu going to pull the power plug of 2 million people in California, and it's a Hindu with a turban on it. Can you get the picture that that's the unseen hand now pulling the plug? The one that's running the world, ladies and gentlemen. You see, not Trump, not Boo Boo, not Bambi, not Bippy, but the Hindu representing the watchers that gave us that underground, are creating anti-gravity craft that fly through the air, that everybody's looking up and going, "Oh, aliens! They're coming! They're coming to save us!" No, they're coming to kill us. What? They're caught up in, "Oh, look, there's some more. Look at that. Oh, then, all they want to do is see these craft. It's mind control. Don't you get it? They got you looking up there, and you're just stuck, with the sensation. I was under a squadron of 30 of them. I found out where they were based underground the next day in Jackson, Mississippi, in the evening of Easter, going south of Memphis, in 1997 in my 18-wheeler. And because I worked with a retired intelligence officer, I could find out where they were based the next day underground. They're man-made, okay? Everybody wants to say, the ancient monuments were made by aliens. No, I think the likelihood, the odds are better, since people are here, that people did it, right? I mean, look at the cell phone. You look at the cell phone, I think aliens made that cell phone. I can't make it. Man, you want to talk about superior technology. Well, that's what the ancient Aryans had, you see. The Aryans. That's what we talk about. Go to the cosmic essence, okay? Go to the cosmic essence, the other site that Ninja has put up. You'll see the link there, right, at the top of the description, right there, right? And it says investigate the cosmic essence. And right there, we define who the Watchers are. We define who Adam really was, because that's the great lie. Who they are, and then who we are, okay? And not only that, but then who the great one is, right? Yabel, hey, who made all things, And so all these lies that we're having to deal with, ladies and gentlemen, are to cover the first lie, okay? To cover the first lie. And so we find the truth by revealing the lies. Okay, that's how you find the truth. You got to know when you're being lied to. You got to know what the lies are. And so so the code, the word code, I looked it up today because I was curious. Since we're dealing with these codes, what I would find in my 1828 Webster's dictionary, and I found out that in Latin, the word code actually means the branch of a tree. You
Wow.
see, the branch of a tree, yeah. And so that makes sense, right? Because what has happened is that the Indo-Germanic we're going back to the root, right, of Indo-Germanic, but what came out of the root of this Indo-Germanic, a giant tree that branched out in all different directions, right? Ninja, we got Eastern European, you got what do you call Sanskrit? What's is pseudo Sanskrit, but the Sanskrit. Then we've got the Latin, then we got Hebrew, then we got the Greek, then we got the Portuguese, then we got the French, then we got the German, then we got the Romanian, then we got the Scandinavian. It's all Indo-Germanic, all Germanic, and so the implication of the code is that the word code meaning of the branch of a tree, they just created another branch of that original, and that's the Archai Malek. That's the Aramaic that I've been talking about. Remember when I showed the Chimera statue? I don't know if you have a copy of it to show, but the Chimera basically, when you spell it backwards, and we did the presentation just a week ago, that Chimera backwards is Aramaic. You see, so they're telling us that the diction that they used, then that's a picture of life. Thank you. That's a picture of life. Okay, and that's in Revelations 13:4, I think, 13:4 through 6, either chapter 12 or chapter 13, and you'll see the beast described in two verses. Okay, the only difference is not the feet of a bear; it's the feet of a dog, because the dogs are the priesthood. They run and do the bidding of their master. Okay, and so the code they're telling us in the statute, Chimera backwards is Aramaic. Okay, Aramaic, and so we have to the signs and symbols rule the world, and so the symbols in our face, but we can't read. Like just like the word goat. The goat is the beast that has his, and isn't that the prime symbol in Freemasonry? The goat
Yep,
in
yep,
the star, right?
yep,
Baphomet
yep.
and Mendes, or I can't remember all those names, but so anyways, we see
Yeah.
the wound on its
Pan
neck,
is a goat.
right? The
Um,
wound on his neck, and the beast is giving power to him by biting on the horn. The horn is the symbol of power. So the serpent being the symbol of life, all things are serpent. Then the serpent's biting the horns, bringing life back to the goat that's got his wound on his neck, and so the goat is the occult society, the occult world, because we are supposed to be lambs, not goats, and therefore the goats are the occult. And what do you spell when you respell goat? I'm going to do it here. Goa. No, they're not in the thing. The cursor's not there. Let's start cursing properly. Okay. Goat is Toga. Okay, there it is.
oh,
See, the
wow.
ones who are running the show wearing the togas, the senators, the presidentes, all the higher echelon that wear the purple and
Um,
the scarlet colors. They're the red, and so they're the ones, and the orange, like the background here, appropriately. The orange goes all the way back to Hindustan, and orange represents 33 in occult Freemasonry, and it's the high sign. That's why you'll see a lot of news channels. A lot of news channels use the orange in the word news, or they'll use orange, they'll wear orange ties, or there's orange in the background. You got to look for the orange because they're working for that unseen hand, you see. And signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor law. No, don't listen to what they say. Look at how they look, and look at their hand signs and the way they move, and that's going to tell you the story. So code, then we talk about Lucifer being the true cipher. You see, it's about the code. It's a dress code. It's a religious code. It's a code of honor. They get knighted. You want to be representing darkness? I want to be a knight. Why not? I want to be the day. You know what I'm saying? That there's everything is reverse in the great mystery. Okay, and so the word Bible and the word Bible means the covering of the L. You see, it's the bib. Bible. Okay, let's put it out there. Bible is the uh, bib of the L, who are correctly, the word L is a cover for the word um, OOL. And so we'll put that up. And but then we can see the word, okay? And and so we can see the word, the anagram is the word lab in the backwards, right? LAB, is right in there as well for experimentation, where they do the experiment in the lab. And also ball, we see ball is in there. But so Bible is a covering. We give a bib L. We give a bib to a baby because it protects him from slobbering all over himself. And then so the bib of the L means it's their covering. What's their covering? Religion. Religion is their covering. You see, because they're um, they're not interested in the scriptures, just like the pseudo Israel today. They're not interested in, the lineage of Israel. They're not Israel. They're Khazars, and so they're pretending religion. They're pretending to be, the original Israel. But you'll notice that they don't care about the truth. They don't care about the history, or they don't ever tell us. Oh, by the way, Mount Sinai's in Arabia, or Noah's Ark is right in the face of Mount Ararat. All this stuff been discovered, the Ark of the Covenant, and the place of where Yeshua was crucified, right there by Ron Wyatt, outside, on the road of Calvary, right at the bottom of the skull. And so what did Israel do? They buried the entire place. They buried it with dirt, just covered it over, built a nice little patio right there so people can have coffee and crimpets, and so they buried the place where Yeshua, was killed, and where the Ark of the Covenant is down below. So the word Bible is Babel, okay? And so what would be the original word? The original word would be, well, in the Hebrew, they want you to think it's Sefer, but that means code, cipher, and Lucifer. But the original word would be shofar, and the shofar is the soul fire. The shofar is the ram's horn. It is the shofar, meaning the knowledge from afar.
That's
Okay?
beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, the word that really unfolded for me today, Ninja, it blew my mind, okay?
Can't
Actually,
wait. I can't wait.
I'm feeling here. Well, I'm going to type it in, okay?
Okay.
And then I'll discuss it, because this is one for discussion here. VATICAN, which then became and I'm like, how did I miss it? VAT. There's a story now behind it. AY VT G H actually should be in there. AYNN, which then means I'm going to take the H out because it'll be easier to see it. It'll get too confusing if I do that. Even though that's the prime root. Okay. The garden. Okay, and also means the okay. So literally, as I've been saying, for the last several years, that Vatican means the Vatican, the vat, meaning
Yep.
the cauldron,
Yep. The lingam.
the pot, and
Yep.
then I realized that it meant the serpent of Cain, the vat, the V being the tongue of the serpent, and the AT being the alphabet. Okay, let me put that symbolism in there, since graphics help. I hear and I forget, I see and I don't forget. Okay, the serpent tongue, and which is also tone, key, and then the AT is the creation, the serpent creation, because it's the alphabet. Okay, so all that is in there, you see, and so literally what I saw today, what blew my mind, because you see the C is not a is, as you know, Ninja, the other week we did that I showed how the C was the ultimate code,
Yep.
the crescent moon,
Yep.
and therefore it also represent it didn't exist. It was a corruption that did business for like 5 other letters, including the ch, which is the ch sound. But literally, C is what was I doing here? Well, C is the moon, Lucifer, but correctly would be the G. Okay, and I'm going to just see. That's what I was going to do. C is really for G. Okay, and sometimes K. There's a duality there. See, there's a real mystery behind this combination of the G and the K, and um, and so what happened is all of a sudden open up when I saw Vatican, and I realized the C was a G. Then I said, wait a minute. Oh, and not only that, but I saw this at the beginning, the Vata. All of a sudden, when I had it as VATY, then all of a sudden I saw the Latin right there, VITA, and then the Hindu being the VEDA, and look at this, okay?
Yep.
I
Yep.
left out an A. Let me try it again. VATAY, okay?
Wow.
Vitae. And so the serpent eye is vitae. And so what does vita mean in Latin? It means life. And what does Veda mean in the books of the Vedas, the most ancient scriptures on the world given us by the Aryan Watchers? It means life. It's the book of life, right? And so what is the aspect of life at its core? It is the serpent's eye. You see, the SERPENT apostrophe S serpent's eye. Okay, that's life, right? We're in the serpent, right? We're at the center. You're at the center of your serpent creation. I'm at the center of my serpent creation. The sun is a serpent. The earth is a serpent. The atom is a serpent. The ocean is a serpent. Running water is a serpent. You see, everything is spinning in the great mystery, you see? And so literally there it was. All of a sudden I saw it. It is the life, because when I saw Cain was Gan, I knew that in the Hebrew Gan was, because there is no C. That's the code. It's a corruption. It's the Gan. His name was Gain, right? What did Cain want to do? He wanted to gain, right? Get more. I want it. I'm more important than everybody else. I get what I want. He wanted gain. He was gain. And Gan because without the Y or the I, just this, as they have it in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, the Gan means garden. And so Cain implies then the garden. You see, in other words, isn't that the dilemma down here in the lower
Yep.
garden, that we all want to kill each other?
Yes.
The gain, we all want more.
Yeah.
Give me more. We work for more. Give me more. Give me more. And so literally Vatican is a code. The Veta gain is the life in the garden, you see? And so that's, in other words, they're giving themselves the label. The Vatican has the label for those that are engineering the life in the garden, which is also, Vatican also means the serpent eye of Cain, or the serpent eye of the garden. It's all interchangeable in that aspect, you see? Is that a
Wow.
mind blower? The serpent's eye, that's life. The serpent's eye, you know? I got
Yeah.
to come
I'm
back and
just
take
I'm
these
just
notes.
taking it
I'm
all
gonna,
in. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Well,
Wow.
it's at 44 minutes. I gotta note this because I am on a major eye opener here. The
Yeah.
vete, there's a
Yeah.
word for life, but it means the serpent's eye. And
Yeah.
therefore the sun is the serpent's eye. The moon is the serpent's eye, but it's the blind eye because it
Yeah.
has no light,
You're
right?
proving
So
that
it's the
this
blind.
is that the serpent is all reality, the reality that we are stuck in, that we need to,
Well, the serpent is
yeah,
the
get it.
metaphor.
Yeah.
It's everything is a serpent. That's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
I'm an owl. I'm not like an owl. I am an owl because I can see in the night. See, it's a metaphor. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so I don't this is major revelation for
Yeah.
me. I don't know about anybody else, but I am
I'm loving it.
absolutely,
I'm just
yeah.
my jaw's on the floor. Does it? I
Yeah.
need Yo's spatula graphic right now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. Well, anyway, see, so the mystery. Well, see, once you know the code, once you know the words, then the mystery opens, you see? And so what the Vatican is claiming, see, it's like we just see it all of our life just as a name. Oh, we say, oh, the Vatican. Oh, the Vatican. Oh, but we never get the idea of the mystery behind it. Just like the Pope, they all say he wears the fish hat, right? That hat
Yep.
up there, and they say, and they take it back to a picture out of Babylon where a guy was actually wearing what looks like the clothing of a fish, right?
Yep.
But remember, the signs and symbols rule the world, and as in Freemasonry, what their lower puppies, they don't ever tell them the real meaning of the symbol. They say, "Oh, Bubba, the symbol means this." Okay, I'm going to whisper in your ear. It's a secret. Don't tell nobody. But this is what the symbol means. And after he told them, he actually lied to him, because the symbol didn't mean that. Actually, then when he gets to a higher degree, he says, "By the way, Bubba, remember when I told you that the symbol actually means this? Well, I lied to you. I'm sorry. Don't hold it against me, because that's how we work here. But now I'm going to tell you the symbol really means this. Okay, now you know the new real meaning of the symbol." And he just lied to him again, because he's not up there with the 32nd or 33 degrees. He's got a long way to go. So the puppy is kept on the string. He's kept, "Oh, Grand Poobah told me the real meaning of the symbol." So anyway, I just had to add that, because now I want you to get the picture, okay? Because the Pope is not wearing a fish hat. It's called Dagon, and Dagon is another word for dragon, and the dragon is another word for the serpent, and the hat that he's wearing is a serpent hat, not a fish, because they got to lie to you about the meaning of the symbol, so you don't really get the picture that we are the serpent. And that was what was tempted in the garden, was Adam and Eve, the two only people that were there, and they were the serpent. They discovered the carnal knowledge of what it means for a spirit to be in the flesh, and that's why they immediately covered themselves with figs after they did what they weren't supposed to do, but it was too exciting. And then at the end, then what happened? The very next thing, they had a baby, and his name was Gain, because they wanted gain. Didn't he say, "No, but the great Elohim doth know that if we do this thing, we will be like great Elohim." How? By being creators, by duplicating what he already made. You get the picture, Ninja?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
I think I got that one out.
Oh,
Jackie's saying a big spatula.
I'm so glad you got that one out. That was
Yeah.
cool. Loved
I
it.
think I need a break after this, Ninja. I'm not sure. But maybe we should go to a break and breathe, and I'll try to regather my thoughts and see where we want to go with this.
Okay.
I know what the Father has open for me here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know what I'm interpreting, and how did I miss it for so long? But see, that's why this program is so valuable, because in the discussion it opens up. You
Yeah.
see, so I
Yeah.
learn just as I'm sharing. Yeshua is opening for all of us. All of us. I
Yeah.
want it. You want it, right? Jackie wants it. Yo Shelley wants it. Lynn wants it. And we got a new friend stopping by, Audio Skywatcher. Well, I guess Audio Skywatcher wants it as well. So welcome. And we're here making lemonade. If you like lemonade, then stand by for the broadcast, because we take those sour lemons and we try to make something out of it that's sweet, ladies and gentlemen. So, Ninja, back to you. And give me at least 7 minutes. I can use a big one, all right?
Okay.
Let's go on some more.
Okay.
ASHAVOR, what they didn't want you to know.
That we tell right here.
Thank you.
Yay. Oh, sorry. I'm loving this. Yeah. I'm jumping off my chair. Well, almost. Okay. We'll be back after the break as soon as I can find a suitable one. Thank you for joining. I love you guys. This is amazing. I'm so glad that we went live tonight. Yeah, the exhaustion has gone. Love it. I love it. Let there be Zore, always. Okay, we'll find some music. We'll be back soon. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for letting us have that short break. Short break. You're listening to the Forbidden History series with NinjaCat and Dezert-Owl from the archived Forbidden History series and Forbidden History archive. That's a bit of a tongue twister, Desert. Welcome back. Also, I'd like to welcome Alison to the program. G'day, and thanks for joining. Welcome back, Desert.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
thank you, Ninja. Good to be back. Always good to be back. When that don't happen, that I guess that means the program's over. So, and I don't. Everything's the enigma of planet Earth is, of course, everything that has a beginning has an end, and that's what this story of a legacy of planet Earth is all about. We know that everything is temporary, other than the truth itself, other than the spirit, the essence of life. Everything is temporary, but in the meantime, go check out our friends with the other channels that are here, and we have some wonderful researchers out there, and I just actually just checked out Audio Skywatcher's channel, beautiful shots, and so yeah, so some wonderful people stopping in, and feel free to subscribe and to thank them for stopping by at the same time. Okay, and so Ninja, I was after I got off, I realized after we just did defining Vatican
yeah,
and that it means the life in the garden, then we should probably define what kind of garden it is, because it's the word changed in the magic of time,
yeah,
and I haven't done the at this point. Maybe I did one day and I forgot, but I as far as the etymology of garden, Garden, when did that come? I can't say specifically, but the etymology I know the root forms. It's two
yeah,
words,
yeah,
and basically gar is here. I'm typing it in here, WR, and then I know you've seen this presentation
yeah.
before,
I
but
remember you
and
discovering it
then
on your
mhm,
original live
PE,
streams. Yeah,
and yeah, well, I this has been one I've known for several decades, because it was in my face, and I knew the prime roots. That's why knowing prime roots is important, because then you get it, okay,
okay.
and
Revealing it
yeah,
on
and
your old live
right,
streams. That's what I meant to say.
SOUND, yeah, okay, so here it is, okay, so Gar's war, and din is sound, and so literally their term for garden is their idea of a garden is the sound of war. I guess they're really having a party in California, aren't they? The sound of war. Okay, that's their idea of a garden. Have we not had perpetual war? You see, so when the Vatican is the life in the garden, what kind of garden are they talking about, right? And the garden they're talking about, because they're the ones that are manufacturing all the
Yeah,
wars. They own both sides, or as even the bankers have admitted in much of their speeches and writing, they always fund both sides of the war.
yeah, yeah,
There's no real enemy. It's like, okay, you're the bad guy, I'm the good guy. Just like Saddam Hussein was a an operative, right, and a player, and then it looks like that they turn on him, they set him up, but no, he's just doing his job. He's just like another Hitler. Now Gaddafi wanted actually to be separate from all that insanity, and actually was the most amazing nation uh, ruler, and gave everybody free education, free phone, I think a free house for the first year or whatever. In other words, he took all that wealth and he gave it to the people, and women had their rights protected. They were not abused by Islam in Libya. That's why Libya means liberation. You see, because they had more. So therefore, they went and killed Gaddafi. That's why they demonized him. That's why they did what they did. The guy was a historian. He wrote like 5 volumes of the history of Africa. Was going to go on the gold standard. And once you start messing with the money, it's over, right? And he was going to have the gold standard for Africa. And so we need they're telling us, they've always told us what is going, what they're doing, right? That's what they do. The movies, they tell us they're coming for us. We talked about it just over the last several days. I've been interpreting the movies, and so there's no secret. But the point is that people don't get it. They're under the spell. As we started the program today, they're under the spell. They're asleep. They're asleep. They're absorbing fairy dust, and now the fairy dust is coming down from the geoengineering aerosol spraying that's going on. They're drinking the fluoride in the faucet.
Yeah.
The food's got plastic in it now, and
Yep.
also soy and
And the
also
rain. The rain has plastic.
abort baby abortions and all of this. It's
Yeah.
just horrendous what they have done to us because in other words, if we know they're following the Babylonian Talmud, what does the Babylonian Talmud say? That we are not regarded as people, we are regarded as cattle, and therefore what they did is in the Babylonian Talmud, it's not even and it doesn't matter if you call it the Jerusalem Talmud or the Babylonian. The Jerusalem Talmud came out of Babylon, by the way. Okay, so go put two and two together. The soft version, the hard version, it don't matter. But in the Babylonian Talmud, it says it's not murder to kill us. That in there, it says it's okay to have sex with 3-year-old girls and boys, and that it's not rape. So this world that they've given to us, it's like, okay, who could have dreamed this stuff up other than psychopaths that from the beginning took blood oaths that said they were going to enslave mankind, and so that's their Bible, the Talmud, the to enslave mankind. And so they've been doing it for thousands of years. Like they got the Alex Joneses, who is really the Israeli front, and all of their the people that subscribed to his channel and bought his products were getting put on the list of that company in Austin, which was a front for Zionism, and then so they get on a list. But the thing is that we're and I'm on fluoride periodically too, by the way. So we're all in the same boat. We got we're all breathing it. You can't avoid it. That's really it's really sad. That's why I can't remember my last point I was trying to make, Ninja. But anyway, I'll see if I can steer around again. The sounds of war. That's why when they open the bombers, right? They say open the Bombay doors. Oh, well, there's India, the Bombay doors, and then they've got another place in India called combat. So there's the word for combat. It comes right out of India. Industry, the word industry, because I'm making all the Hindu connections now, right? Because
Yeah.
we got a Hindu pulling the plug and turning off the power
Yep.
in California, and and the next day they started all the fires spontaneously all at the same time,
Yep.
and one guy got it. He
Yep.
finally got it. Yeah, that were great to researchers. So industry. The word industry comes from the Indus Valley. The Indus
Wow.
Valley, the five rivers, the place of the Sindh, which ultimately dried up. But so they control industry. So it's not the machines and the toys they make, it's the machines that make the machines. You see, they make the machines that make the machines. And that's the greater technology. They control industry. They made all the games. Chess came out of
Yep.
India. Even Kung Fu came out of India, actually. And the greatest martial arts of any period of time, the most sensational martial arts have come out of India. They are the masters of the world. And then that one book by Raymond Knapp, Stephen Knapp, excuse me, Stephen Knapp, One World Vedic Culture. He proves out in there. I mean, they know it. You see, they know it. We're the ones that don't know it. That prior to the flood, it was a one world global Vedic. Vedic means life, right? That we said that. But it implies who's controlling that narrative, and it is the ancient Aryan Brahmins that are hiding behind the Dravidic, up in the northern India from the ancient time in like Delhi, and then they're in Tibet, Burma, and then ultimately at one point in Switzerland, in the Vatican as well, all networked, all spread out. But they plotted to take over the world, so they built the Great Pyramid civilizations. Okay, and then they with technology that we can't even duplicate today, and then we find them in modern time in Nevada, because as you heard me talk about how they designed America 100 years 200 years earlier, and yet when Nevada got its name 150 years ago, Nevada, oh, the Vedas, that because Nal, as you know, ne na, the N letter is the prime symbol of that which comes down, and it's the nail, the na Veda. Oh, the Vedas that came down, and then what do we got underground in Area 51? One being a 50 being a jubilee, and one meaning a new age. When they come out of the ground from underground, we've got Area 51 with the anti-gravity vimanas that they've been flying, and they got on the top of temples in India. They look like donuts, but those are ancient vimanas. And even on the walls inside the temples, they got pictures of UFO fighting, you see? And yet today they still got people thinking they come from out there, from outer space. They're not outer space vehicles. They couldn't survive in outer space. They are inner space vehicles run by mercury vortex engines. It's the prime element of what Mercury does when you get it to spin by heating it up. And so it's an open secret. There is no secret. It's just that people don't know how to research, and they don't have the time because they've been made good slaves. So their idea of the garden is the perpetual war. That way you're too busy. You'll never figure it out. You think, when they went to Normandy, when they were going to have all those Americans and British and French soldiers coming off those landing craft, right, where the door opens and they got to run out with their equipment and try to run across a beach and take a giant mountain fortress and take out pillboxes with machine guns and cannons in them, right? Oh yeah, you got to run across that beach, you got to take that mountain, you got to take out the pillbox while they're blasting you with automatic weaponry, right? You think they would have given them like the ancients had, Ninja, a steel shield, so they could have walked across that beach and not be blown apart instantly by bullets, right? You think they would have given them a shield? Do you think that would be a logical thing? Would you want a shield if
I
you
would
had to
want a
cross the sand
shield.
beach?
Yeah.
Okay, but they didn't give them one, did they? They just said, go run out there with your gun and take them out. And that's the idea of population
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
And population, only a fool would run across a beach, against an arsenal of machine guns and cannon fire. And that's what they
Yeah.
do to us. They get us to play their game. It's so. This is their idea of the garden. And that's what the point was when I defined Vatican. It was like, there it is. Okay, life in the garden, the Vatican. Yeah, like I was in Catholic school for the first 3 years of my life. Stayed back in first grade. That showed you how much they were intelligent. I stayed back. Like it was my fault. Come on. They didn't know I needed glasses. They were that stupid. But I was terrorized by the nuns. Terrorized. So we talked about the idea of a garden, right? The idea of a garden, and the garden is perpetual war. And so what about the word Christ? Because we talk about the fact that Jesus Christ is not the original word,
Yeah.
and that we want to go back to our culture, because our culture has the original word, which is Yeshua. And then the Messiah, Christ is Messiah, but that's a corruption as well. Messiah is the Mo'eshiach. But let's look at the word Christ for a minute, which also sounds like and really does reflect upon, as we've been talking about the Hindu thing, it reflects upon Krishna. Christ is Krishna, because it's not the original. It's not from Israel or Israel. But look at this. Christ in the anagram, got to put that cursor there, Christ is Strict. Strict. Well, that's what those nuns were. They were strict. They took out the yardstick and they beat us and they threatened us and they put their fingers in our faces. And I was so terrorized one day by the nuns, Ninja, at the Catholic school. When I got home, nobody was home, just me. I came in.
Yeah.
I'm on like 6 years old. 6 years old, right? I slammed that back door so hard because I was terrorized by those nuns. I broke the window. Literally, the
Wow.
window came
Oh.
crashing down. Luckily, I didn't cut myself. But literally, you see how the code works, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. So
Yeah.
Jesus, as I defined, I'm not going to define it today. Okay, I don't want to bring the bad news. I'm tired of spelling it out because it's sick what they've done. I guess
Yep.
I really need to, right? I really need to. Okay, because the good news is he has a name. Remember in Revelations, he says, I will give you a name that nobody can name. And so the name that nobody can name is the name that is the original. The original, okay? So that's the good news. So I'm gonna spell it out again because you can be set free. Because I always thought that Jesus, okay, was which we found as Isus Isus, was Zeus, Zeus. Okay, that's what I thought. And Isus meaning the healing
Yeah.
Zeus. Zeus is the supreme god of the Greeks,
Yeah.
and he was the son of Jupiter, but that the father and the son are one, right? The same mythology that belonged to Greece is a parallel to the one of the true tradition, right? And so, but yet literally, Jesus, as in which would be correctly Y-E, which would be correctly you, okay, and then Seuss, S-U-S, and this is the Indo-Germanic, okay, that's where I discovered it because it went past the Greek. It's past the Greek, and that's when it opened up to me just this past year, okay, is literally, uh, so literally, Jesus means, okay, well, that sounds like the Babylonian Talmud to me. You see what they've done? You see they're controlling, just like capital. I want to give you some words so you can get the picture how we've been deceived. Capital, okay, is kappa, CAPA, is head, and tail, TAL, is tally, TALI. Okay, so literally capital means head, count. Well, that's what they do in Washington, right? They got us all registered in the Department of Commerce with our birth certificates. They funneled all of our birth certificates through the state, and we are the capital. Capital is synonymous with the word, get ready, that's what capital means, cattle. Mer, mer, get in line, boys. Come on, cattle. Come on through the chute. Hell, ah, yeah. Oh, we got that cattle really working for us today, don't we, boys? Yeah. Let's get that cattle through the chute. Come on, stand in this line. Get over here. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Are we having fun, or is this just making us want to vomit, Ninja? I don't know what it is.
A bit of
Uh,
both. Does it?
bit of both. Yeah,
Yeah, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of. You see? And so the game's been played on us, ladies and gentlemen. The game, the greatest game of the planet, the game of chess. And they own the board, they own all the pieces, and we are the pawns. They tell us where to go, what to do, when to do it, and or else if we're not a game player, well then we may be in trouble. We may be in trouble, and we'll be an outcast, or nobody will want to talk to us anymore, or worse, they'll put us in prison, or Wall Street prison, or I guess at best they'll kill us. At least we won't have to worry about it anymore. But you know, yeah, that's what's going on, and
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
yeah, there's a what did it say, that you would know the truth, and the truth would make you a fugitive,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I've become, is a fugitive. And until I met all these wonderful friends last year on June 21st on the broadcast on YouTube, I was going to a lot of Skywatcher channels just saying hi to everybody. Finally figured out how to turn on that YouTube for the first time, and then and then all of a sudden I had an instant audience. Some subscribers came in, and then and I met you, and I met Lynn, and then ultimately Yo Janier, and now so many wonderful more people, and Phoenix Fox. He's been on for a few months now, and so we've met some great people. He did a wonderful presentation one day I saw on his channel. He spilled his heart and his guts, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a tough thing to
Yeah.
do.
That
So I
was
remember
beautiful. Yeah.
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
oh, we can talk about the word Phoenix too. That's I don't know if well, I don't want to do that one today though. Phoenix, it's good and bad. Okay, you can appreciate the facts that it's probably got some other element in it, and but the bottom line, the Phoenix is a bird. It is a bird, and it's also known as the Toltec god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, and the phoenix in the mythology flies back to Meitzar, falsely called Egypt. Meitzar, every 500 years, burns up in the ashes. Out of it comes they say it's a worm. You see, that's how they tricked us again, because it's not a worm, it's a serpent. It's another serpent. And, so anyway, and I have already defined Phoenix on here, okay? But yeah, so I'm just Ninja. I just after you see the psychopathic nature so clearly, you interpret the movies where they tell you they're coming, to commit mass genocide on your friends and your family, and little boys and girls, and
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful families. It's how what planet we woke up in a science fiction movie. We
Yeah.
went to these
Yeah.
movies and loved the blood and the gore. I
Yep.
never did. My friends all of a sudden, like in the late 1970s, they started coming out with all these violent
Yeah.
vampire
Yeah.
movies and blood and gore, and the guy with the chainsaw and
Yeah,
another guy
Texas
with
Chainsaw
knives for
Massacre.
fingers.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I never
watched all
went
of
to them.
them in the early 80s with my
I saw them,
friends,
shame on you.
and
I
yeah,
went to none of them. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't watch any of them.
I
I
did.
couldn't do it.
I was
Yeah, I
sucked
went
in.
to.
Yeah.
But one night, me and my friends, we all were out, partying, and we went to see Jaws and The Exorcist on the same night on two different movie theaters. And when came out of The Exorcist, I was sick. I
Yeah.
was literally sick to my stomach,
Yeah.
and I didn't know why. But the reason is because it was a CIA operative movie, and in there they had rabbits being murdered in the background, in the reverse, and the bees humming, and all the slaughter going on in the
Yeah.
background, in the music and the sound.
Yeah.
So it was an ultimate on mind control. And so between the two movies, I was literally physically sick for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
And so I'm just glad I wasn't into that stuff ever. And that was the only time I went to that type of a deal. But, so yeah, I was on the great mission. I just didn't know it yet. I was waking up to our psychopathic world. And, then I couldn't wait to leave New Jersey when I was 17 years old. I was out of there. Nobody, nobody cared about me. No parents loved me, and they were all of them divorced, screwed up, and didn't know anything, didn't have no hearts, no brains, just like Straw Man and Tin Man, and so that was beautiful because it caused me to identify with my true parent being the mother, the mother father, the androgynous one, the great spirit of life, and Elohim, Yeshua, who is the great Elohim, and which is correctly Ulaf the Ulaf the royal eyes of the Trevane love, the divine love, and to be able to define things based on original thought. That to me is the greatest miracle. I just saw the problem, but then after 40 years here now 40 years later, I actually can now read. It took me a lifetime to learn how to read, but now I know how to read, and I would think that anybody would want to know the truth about how they've been lied to. Oh, just like, okay, there's a beautiful one. Thank you. Okay, the egg. So let's look at that word, another code, right?
Yeah.
EGG. This is a perfect example because we see it all of our life, but we don't get it. And it's AGG. Okay, there it is. But what does that mean? It's a code because the G, as it is a symbol of this, okay, they say in gold we trust, but it's, I just spilled the beans. I said in God we trust, but it's in gold we trust. See, God, that's what they trust in, right? Is
Yeah.
GOLD. But what does it represent? It represents they took all the gold, by the way, when after they, the Federal Reserve Bank took over. They stole it all from us. They wanted that hard currency for the phony paper currency that is an illusion. So the G represents what? Come on, already, Ninja, right?
You always ask me this when it's really late at night.
Okay. All right, I'll let you go. I won't fail you. All right.
I know
You're
it. You know I know it.
the
But
sun. Okay.
yeah.
And so the gold, G represents gold, gold represents the sun. And Jackie's saying I'm still traumatized from The Exorcist. Right? Yeah. I mean, come on, that was pitiful. What we saw in there, right? Pitiful. And it was all telling the story. I interpreted Exorcist actually, all subliminal. I interpreted the movie and I did a presentation on The Exorcist. Unreal.
Wow.
Okay, so it's egg. You got two G's in there. I mean, come on. Do normally do you have words with two G's together like that? No. I
No.
mean, that's an enigma, right?
Yeah.
At, uh-huh. Okay, so what is it? There's two of them, remember? And so here it is. The A represents the sun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then G represents the sun, right? And so
Yeah.
egg, AGG correctly, because listen, it's not an E, it's not egg, egg, it's a, egg, egg. It's an egg, okay? And it's a code, two G's together then, is telling you that this is the second sun. It's telling you that the sun is a seed. It's the germ of life. It's where life began in the light. Everything came out of the light, and it's a reminder. What do they tell us in the government, right? They say, oh, don't eat the yellow yolk. Don't eat the yellow
Yeah.
yolk because
Yeah.
you'll get cholesterol
Yeah.
problems.
Do the
Well, guess what?
opposite.
The
Do the
body,
complete opposite to
yeah,
what they say. Yeah.
it's a healthy food,
Yeah.
and in fact, the body makes its own cholesterol. So tell your body not to make cholesterol, ladies and gentlemen. The problem was when the cholesterol was being found in the arteries of people stuck in there, it wasn't the cholesterol that was the problem. It was the homogenized pasteurized milk that was turned into Elmer's glue in our system, and it was taking all the stuff going through our arteries and clogging it there because of the Elmer's glue, the pasteurized, synthesized milk. That's why everybody wants to get on raw milk, and they want to kill the raw milk industry because they want us on their highly processed, synthesized petrochemical, Elmer's glue, and they also make paint bases out of milk as well. And so that's what happens. So the symbolism is the second son. Okay, it's the second son, and meaning they don't. The Father of Light doesn't want us to forget where we come from. So the sun creates everything, and then boom, out of an egg is hatched a second son. And you see it's the microcosm, macrocosm.
Yeah.
It's telling the
Yeah.
story. You
Wow.
know,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank
And
you.
what is it? And what is this particular type of because it is a creature, unlike other creatures. What is the creature that brings forth the egg typically,
The chicken?
or the birds?
Yes.
Birds, right?
But
Birds, and so
it keeps going through my head which came first, the chicken or the
bir-
egg.
birds represent spirit,
Wow.
right? Right. Birds came first.
The
The
phoenix.
spirit,
Yeah.
yeah. And so what came first, the chicken or the egg? The seed. The seed comes first. Okay, it's about the seed of light, and that is the sun. It is a symbol, it is a seed, it is a germ, and therefore life comes out of it. And so through the process of time, you see again, science is part right and the religion is part right. You know how they oppose us to each other, right? But everything evolved on Earth. It's an evolutionary. You can look at the history of the world. You can know that it's evolved over millions and billions of years.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But man didn't evolve. Man was spontaneously made by Elohim, and Adam was made before anything else was made. And it said it took him up, placed him into the Eden. What Eden? Where? Because it wasn't on Earth. It was in the sun, the throne of the sun. And this is what we have been. This is one of the lies that we've been denied. The relevance to that. That's why when the three brothers went into the fire in Babylon, it was symbolic of going into the light. That's why when Abraham in Babylon, in the book of Jasher, went into the fiery pit for 3 days and 3 nights, again, it's a three, representing sun, earth, and moon, but representing the fact that he went back into the light. Just like, Enoch, when he went up in his vision, he was taken up into the throne of the sun. If you read Revelations 19:17, John Yalganon says, "And I saw the great Moloch standing in the sun." In Psalms 19, verse 4, it says, "And he placed his tabernacle within the sun." You see? And so this is the knowledge of where we come from, where all life comes from, and they denied us. They've tricked us. They took control of the narrative. They crushed us. They destroyed everything, our narratives, our scriptures, the words. The priesthood, the Jesuits, all Protestantism is being run by Jesuits and Freemasons. Okay, agents of the Vatican, they did it. Protestantism was a beautiful when Luther, went into it. Of course, there was some genocide that went on with that too. But in the end, they took all of Protestantism back, and Protestantism was going somewhere because they were on the trail of the truth. But quickly, it all came back under the wing of the Vatican. And so the truth is not a part of any lie, and it says many seek to enter in, many, 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 many. But yet, what does it say? Few are going to be saved. How can that be? What's going on? So we have pierced the veil. We have gone through the crack. Okay, we have gone through the crack. And what's particular are you showing here, Ninja? The GH or the
Yeah, I just
the co-
remembered that I had a graphic with the G on it.
all
So
right.
I just wanted to
Right.
see what it
Well,
was.
okay, if they want to see
Yeah.
the code, look at States of America, ladies and gentlemen. Look at states. See, we didn't even know, all of us, that are over 60, didn't even know that the original on the Declaration of Independence, we were not called United States, we were called States of America. But look at the A in America. Something wrong with that? It looks sort of like an H to me. And then wait a minute, is that an upside down G right in front of it? Is that a GH? Oh, meaning
Wow.
return. Yeah, and there's the word grammar, but also hermeneutics, a form of the word hermeneutics, which means the science of words. And so GH meaning return, meaning that when they pretended to give us freedom, what they were really doing was putting their occult symbolism right there, saying that we're going to get it back, though. Ha ha ha. We're going to pretend to give it to you, and you never had it. You never had freedom. We founded America on May Day. The Illuminati founded America on May Day, May 1st, 1776. Then we have our phony July, the July of the 4th, right? July 4th, 1776. Well, it's a maxim of law that that which is first is superior. And so the Illuminati made their claim officially, publicly on May 1st. And then 2 months later, the peons got their Independence Day, but it was a July, a false narrative, okay? A
Is it?
great show, symbolism. What?
Oh, sorry, I just want to add something to that. My birthday's on May Day. Um, and
Okay.
you reminded
You're not
me.
Illuminati, are you? What?
I'm not on what?
You're not Illuminati, are you?
No.
Oh, good,
Um,
just checking.
not that I'm aware of. um, yeah. Yeah. I was born on the 1st of May, and you just brought back a memory. When I was doing the overnight shift at McDonald's, um, all the staff at one stage that I was working with, which was very few, very short staffed on the overnights, overworked. Yeah, probably about four of us. Anyway, I was uh, the only Australian on working on the overnights. All the rest were from India, um, and Osama bin Laden was killed on the 1st of May, and I was working. Um, and one of the guys that I was working with was jumping for joy uh, at this at the death.
False narrative.
Yeah, at
False narrative.
that.
Yeah.
And he was talking about it all night, and he found out that it was my birthday, and he made a point of reminding me, saying, "Aren't you happy? He was killed on your birthday. Aren't you pleased? Aren't you happy about that?" And I'm like, "What?" And yeah, I was absolutely disgusted. I I've never condoned the death of anybody, um, let alone celebrated it. And he was doing that all night on the night shift on the night of my birthday. And I was working with Indians, people from India. So yeah, I just had to share that memory. Wow, wow,
Right. Hmm.
yeah. Okay, please continue.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. I tried sending you a message, but it didn't go through on Skype, so I don't know what's going on with Skype.
I don't know what's going
Um,
on either.
yeah. Okay. So we had Vatican. We talked about that, and so let me just let's talk about more of the illusions that come out of the Vatican. Okay, and
Okay.
then we'll take a break. We're going to take a break here in a little bit. The rest of my voice, but yeah, life in the garden, isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
The Big Bang. This is the lower garden, ladies and gentlemen. So there's two gardens. There's the above garden in the Garden of Light, in the Garden of Atoms, falsely called Eden, and then there's this lower garden down here where there's the duality of the good and evil, the light and the darkness, male and female. Everything's opposed. Everything's opposed, right? Men are against women, women are against men, fighting. We can't get along. And then it's then black against white. Then it's rich against poor, right? They figured out all the paradigms and they play it up to the max, right? So let's find out where the Big Bang Theory came from. I was continuing watching that
Wow.
episode of the
Can't wait.
the lamp the lamp in the darkness, and
Yeah.
part two, and so the Big Bang Theory came out in 1931 by a Jesuit, Georges Lemaitre. Lemaitre. I don't know. It's bad spelling, but anyway, the point is, it was by a Jesuit. Okay, the Big Bang Theory. Oh yes, there was just a big explosion, and then everything went in every direction. Well, that's not what you see in the beauty. Look at the roundness of the moon. The moon is perfectly round. How could that happen unless it came out of the sun and then the orb of a hot molten orb, because that's what it would become, like water in space would be perfectly round because it has to seek the smallest denominator in shape, and that's a round circle. And so naturally the moon would become round as a molten uh, piece of the sun that came off, and then it cools and it cools and it cools in the coldness of space, and it's perfectly round. That's how it gets perfectly round. It's not like other moons around the other planets that are like rocks. This is a perfectly round sphere. I know some people hate that word sphere, but I'm sorry, I'm going to use it because it is. And it wasn't made by aliens, just like David Icke got us to think, because life is dependent on the moon. Life could not be on Earth, if it were not for the moon. Interesting that David Icke, his last name is Rockefeller. Could put two and two together, ladies and gentlemen. And he got everyone thinking the Queen of England turns into a lizard. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They also want us to think, who is it? She's always on Ghost to Ghost. She's got more makeup on than Avon, and she's always she says, oh yeah, we know now that the Sumerians were Anunnaki and that they made us in test tubes. Oh yeah, okay, so we don't have a divine origin, and so I guess they kind of destroyed our scriptures totally, didn't they? So, but what's interesting is that not only did the Big Bang Theory come out from the Vatican by a Jesuit, but also the flat Earth back 1,000 years ago when they didn't want people branching out into the Americas when they were laying claim to all the mineral wealth. Yeah, thank you, Linda Moulton Howe. Lynn always gets it. I don't know how she does it. Linda Moulton Howe, I can't stand her. She is a Illuminati agent, and so anything she says, you could immediately know that she's a propaganda expert. So she got everyone to think that no, they weren't Aryans, according to Waddle. Back in the 1800s, the first pioneers of first dictionaries of the Sumerian, claiming that it is a pure Aryan race, claiming that it was parallel with Meitzar, falsely called Egypt, and that these were the first civilizations after the flood, and they were Aryans. And he even claimed that we're speaking 75% Sumerian today in our modern tongue, and that's why I can back engineer it to the Indo-Germanic. But no, now apparently Waddle, because they didn't have their New World Order agenda going at that time, for Waddle, but that's why we've never heard of them, you see. But now it's, of course, no, this is really Anunnaki. It's that they come in every 35,000 years. They land on Earth, pick up their pension, and then they go, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. What they've
Yeah.
done. There's all ill logic, and we have succumbed to it. That so everybody, they can't wait for the next thing that they can hear, because they can't research anything, they can't figure anything out. So, you got a secret? Okay, it's like I remember this double agent when I was in East Texas, and right at the end of my at the time I had United Truckers defending the Constitution, and he turned out to be one of the double agents. And whenever I was at my treasurer's office, he was a dentist, and I would go there sometimes. And then this guy was there, and he goes, "Hey, come on, let me tell you something. I got some intel for you. Here's some intel." And he was always doing that. And
Yeah.
then I finally figured it out. The guy was an idiot. He had all the guns, all the toy guns he could play with. And he was a government agent, and a piece of garbage at the same time. So it goes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so where are we going here?
You're
Yeshiva,
talking about
okay,
the Vatican, um,
okay.
and the
Oh, right,
watches,
right. Well,
and
no, I just did that on the big lies. The lies come out of there. They control even the word education, of course, right? Educate means to remove. Ed means to remove. Editor is one who removes, and it's not add. Add is to gain. Ed is to decrease, right? That's why Eve in the E is smaller than the A in the atom, right? A and E, right there. You see add or ed. Which is it? And so we have to know the meaning of these symbols because they do tell us who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are. Okay, and so one more, then we can go to a break, and then we come back. We'll wrap it up. We'll do a few more words when we come back. Unless somebody out there has a comment or question, you can call on my phone. Ninja, I don't know if you have the graphic with the number on it, but I figured out how to use the speakerphone on there, and I think we'll get good audio. If anyone wants to join us on the call, 608 566 7295. I'll be glad to take a call. You can call now before the break or after the break, 608-566-7295. And so, this Shiva lingam, Ninja, the lingam, of course, is a representative of the male sexual organ in India, of all
Yeah.
places. They really play it up there, but they played it up all over the world, and they got obelisks in Mysore. And so let's look at the word, okay? But let's look at Shiva, because remember, like we just defined Christ as Krishna and strict backwards, then Shiva, Shiva, will show is a parallel to Shua, Shoovat, which we also see as Sho. We spell it with a U, Shuah, right? We spell it that. No, Sh. Geez, the code really messes it up because it'd be like this, okay, like that, Shua, but we see it then as Joshua, like that, Joshua, or take off the H. Okay, so we see Shiva is a form of Shua. This is an important presentation right here, and you'll see real quick because remember we talked about the garden. What was the fall in the garden? It was carnal knowledge, the attraction of male female, that they knew that they could create life on earth, that they had within them the ability for reproduction. We will be like the great Elohim. How? As creators, you see. And so, but then when you add the hormones and the attraction, the physical eye attraction, all of that, then so so uh, so Shiva Lingam then is then it's in the word because Shua, Shool, is the prime word that we see there. But in Yeshua, in his most primitive, not Joshua, but actually Yal, Ahll, Shul, Shoolanvat. Well, there's the shul. So you see the shul va as in Shiva, shul and va. But so I put the a in. We could say shuva, Shoovat, like that, shuva. So what does that mean? Knowledge of the serpent is what that means. Knowledge of the serpent. And so the Shiva lingam. What does the lingam represent? But the serpent creation, Lingam, okay, which then is serpent, Serpant, creation, Creation. So when they're massaging the lingam, they're pouring the milk and the butter over it in India. These priests all day long in a loincloth, they're just massaging the lingam. What a job, to massage the symbol of a sexual organ. And but what is going on? You see, it's telling a story. If we can interpret the insanity of what they're telling us if we can get the picture is that that by massage the element of massaging the lingam is what brought us knowledge. You see, that was the awakening of Adam and Keva, right? It was the fact that they experienced something, and in the experience they now knew the difference between light and darkness and the rise and the fall. You
Yeah.
see, because it was the serpent knowledge. The knowledge is the knowledge of the serpent, who the serpent is and what the serpent is, and that the serpent is all things. That's why Moses was told to put on the cross, the serpent, and go around the camp. If people can see it, they can live. Then what we see 1,500 years later, Yeshua giving himself as a sacrifice, nailed to a tree, nailed to a cross. The tree represents the tree of life, it represents the cosmos, represents the crossroad, represents the star navigators symbol for navigation on the high seas, and also the sword of sacrifice. And so he says, nail the serpent to the tree. He's nailed fixed permanently. And that's what then he represents as the sun continually shining and telling us the way back home, navigating us back to the light, but we see it and we don't get it. So literally Shiva Lingam then means, here it is, the organ of knowledge. The organ of knowledge. The lingam is the organ, and Shiva, Shua, Yashua means knowledge. The Yal means that which goes round, so it's the knowledge that goes round. So, but the Shiva then literally means the organ of knowledge. So you see, that was what opened up
Wow.
the problem. That's the Pandora's box that opened up.
Yes.
You
Yes.
see,
Yes. Yeah, that makes wow. That just
they
puts it
couldn't
all together, does it?
and they
Thank
couldn't put it
you.
back. They couldn't put it back in the box once it was open. Once they had
Wow.
that experience of what? Pleasure,
Yeah.
right? Because that's
Physical
that's the
pleasure. Yeah.
right, the pleasure, and it represents all other pleasure, whether it's eating or having
Yeah.
a party or
Yeah.
getting stoned or
Yep.
going driving a fancy car or
Yep.
getting the big house. It's all the same thing. It's the sensual, the sensation of an experience that is beyond the mind, that is supporting the serpent and the ego. Is it a break time?
Oh, yo, can I have your spatula again, please?
Well, it's it
Wow.
makes sense now. We get it because when we see them in India sitting in their underwear with no
Yep.
shirt on,
Yep.
massaging the lingam,
Yep.
they're telling us
Yep.
that this is the organ of knowledge. This is what gave us our problem.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
and they're so we don't forget. In other words, it's a symbol that implies don't forget where it came from.
Yeah.
And we look at them when nobody tells us, right? We see it all the time on the document, but nobody defines it.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
all right there
nobody.
in front of us.
Yeah.
Wow. That was amazing, Desert. Wow.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Somebody's got to do it, right? You heard it here first. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm, at least it's having a few answers is makes up for having to spell out all the problems all the time and give the bad news about, the spelling of Yeshua or Jesus and it's like always feel like the bearer of bad news, but the good news is we can
Yeah.
define things,
Yeah.
and then by defining things we can know where we are in the narrative, and it will help point the way back home. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. There's
Reading.
always
How,
good news. There's always good news after the
how
bad.
can sure. Well, how can we be claim to be an enlightened creature and not see the light,
Yeah.
right? And to be deceived. How can you be enlightened and deceived at the same time? You can't.
That's
Either it's one or the
impossible.
other. It's one or the
Impossible.
other.
Yeah.
Right. And so to be set free is to be set free from all the false narratives and the control of your mind. That's the freedom. That's the true freedom. They can take your body any day of the week. But if you do what Yeshua says to do by surrendering to him, they cannot take your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Only you can give it to them. Yeah.
Wow.
They'll take your body any day of the week.
Yeah.
And by the way, right on that ASHAVOR Ninja, there's one space that's missing on ASHAVOR on that after word, just so you know, okay? Because I tried typing you, it wouldn't let me type on the Skype, but one
Okay.
cat missing. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and so let's go
I
to
was
a
trying to
break.
get it to fit. I did exactly the same. Like I copied it and it wouldn't fit, and I couldn't figure out why.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So yeah, I'll fix it. Yeah.
all right,
Thank you.
okay, not a big deal, but the other ones work, so I thought we
Yeah, I
could get
know.
it perfect.
It's yeah weird.
Remember, we're told to be perfect because Yeshua's perfect, the
Yeah.
Father's perfect, and so we have to exemplify the perfection of light, and
Yeah.
that's what we do. And so, as best we can, we're on the road of perfection. That's what we're doing with our journey. We put off the imperfections, the corruptions of the world, to put on the perfection of Yeshua. Because I mean, come on, he said, "Greater works we would do." What? Greater works? Well, yeah, because we become his spirit coming into us. We become the incarnation of his being, and therefore, why did he say greater works? Well, because he's now spirit, and therefore he dwells in us, and therefore we perform on his behalf. And so what Moses, he was there, hold up your staff, Moses, look at that. The ocean parted. Wow. Come on, everybody, let's go across. That's pretty powerful. So even greater works did Moesha do than Yeshua did, right? Yeshua didn't part an ocean, right? Moses did, right? Moeshan. So you see what I'm saying? That by surrendering, we literally, you know, the the rule book changes. The paradigm changes because he's wanting to use us to do his great work at the time when the world is coming to an end, especially because there's some people that might want to escape. And so we're trying to give it to them straight, not the spin, right? The spin of the serpent, Vatican spin, but the real skinny on what they've denied us knowledge of, and that is the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, the true nature of it, and who we are as a race. And when we talk about Aryanism, it's not to say that it excludes anybody, but it was the Aryan race that was supposed to bring soul novation, the truth about who we are, where we are, and where we are, and why we are, but instead decided to sell out the objective and to therefore put into slavery all of mankind. So the Aryans are the criminals in that sense, but they enslaved all other races and the Aryan, their brothers, at the same time. So, and that's the irony. Just like, the Masons formed the Ku Klux Klan, and I can't get over that African people would want to join the Masons when they were the ones that were lynching, African Americans on the trees, back in the South. That we forget. We're so easily forget or just
Yeah.
don't investigate.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
invest. Oh, yeah, sounds good to me. Sure, I'll do it. Yeah, you know. And so, yeah, any organization you join, you assume all liabilities of that organization. I don't join organizations, ladies and gentlemen, because because it's of the world. It's of the world. There's only there. I claim no nation because I claim the light, the kingdom of heaven, and correctly that is the royal house of the sun, the royal house of the sun, because the sun is here and now. The sun is shining. I'm under the light, and this is the great house that the sun brought forth through its great power of the atomic creation. Okay, Ninja, let's go to break and tell your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here's some things you never heard before, and maybe you'll see something you never saw before. It could happen.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Um, yeah. Okay, we'll be back right after the break. Yeah. So yeah. I just want to say, Desert, you were talking about having to always talk about the bad news. See, you just ended it with good news. Always. Okay, we'll go to a break. Please stay with us, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for joining. You're listening to the Forbidden History series with NinjaCat and Dezert-Owl, also from the Forbidden History series. His old live streams. Please go back to June 21st last year and listen from there. It's amazing. Links are in the description. And Desert is also currently broadcasting from Forbidden History Archive. So please subscribe and check the bell. Um, Also, we have PDFs available. We accept any size donation. That helps because we have no funding to do this. Um, you will get I'm trying to think. Sorry, it's late. You will get a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary written by Dezert-Owl. There's also a copy of the Book of Wisdom, which is absolutely amazing. It's been my go-to book for help. I'm on the other side of the planet, um, and yeah, I love you guys, but the thought of waking you up in the middle of the night with a ninja emergency. Yeah, so I've used that book a lot. I open it randomly and the right words are always there. And also a sample of the original gospel with a more up to date version of the dictionary at the back of it. Um, We please ask to request just one at a time, but you're welcome to have them all. If you can't afford to donate, we will get them to you anyway. It's important information and it will help you see and read for yourself, and get closer to the truth, get closer to the light. Okay, welcome back, Desert. Let's make some more lemonade. Yeah. Hang on, I've got to turn your microphone on. Do you want to say that
Oh,
again? Okay.
oh, you mean everybody missed the? Okay, well, when it gets missed, it gets missed. What can I say? That's all right. Um, but you know what's really strange? I'm trying to like the program. It's on a 9, and I keep clicking it, and
Yeah.
within 5 seconds it unclicks it.
Yeah.
It won't let me. It won't let me like the my program with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, how
Shenanigans.
about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go in and
Yeah,
try it actually because I haven't done it yet either. I'll try with Cosmic as well. Wow.
yeah, yeah. As soon as the notice pops up and goes back down, boom, it goes back to 9. I
Wow.
don't. What's
Them
going on?
chew.
And nothing works. Nothing works with these people, and that way they can't. They like that because then nobody can pin them down.
Yeah.
For what I'm saying. That yeah, nothing works and anything can happen. And it's rather that's I think very indicative of the way our world is, right? I mean, their tube is really a good example of how everything in our world is screwed up, right? Because if there wasn't the most basic thing a computer ever could do, it was to count,
Yes.
right? To
Yes.
count, and literally the counters don't work, and therefore everything else doesn't work, and then they can say, well, don't blame me, because it's just,
Yeah.
that's the way it is,
It's just a
that's the way it is.
computer.
So
It's a glitch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So well, anyway, I did the ASHAVORs. We went over them pretty good. I think I had one more part on the word virgin, and because what we're talking about is putting on the light of purity, and that's part of this great mystery, because we're the whoredom that Mary of Magdala represented, was the idolatry, and the idolatry is indicative of the world. You know how what the idol is the ideal, right? You see, it's in the word, right? The
Yeah.
idol is the ideal. So some people want to be famous, like Hollywood movie stars. That's their ideal, and therefore other people want to be the astronaut, and supposedly go into outer space. I don't know. I think they could orbit, but I don't think they get past the orbit. But the so in other words, but they don't want to get to know the Father who made them. The Father of light and Father of creation, because that would be, I think, the passion that actually any sentient being would want to have, because
Yeah.
if you don't know who you are and where you are and why you are and when you are, well, then maybe you're going to end up with a real problem, because the clock is ticking,
Yep.
and it's going to tick out, and then you're not going to know how to go back home. You know, you're not going to know how to go back home. And
I want
thank
to
you,
go home. I want to go
Audio
home.
Skywatcher. Yeah,
Yeah.
she clicked it twice. I can't click it once, and she clicked it twice. So I guess maybe she has another channel. But anyway,
Audio Skywatcher remix. We call it. It's a he. It's
oh,
just so
hey,
you know.
thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong. Well, all right. So,
No worries.
you worried?
Not right
No.
now.
All right, good. Okay. Let me see
Okay.
here. So we're on the Virgin Mary bearing the child of Yeshua, says the child of Jesus, common parlance, but boy, didn't they do a number on us with that one. And so we know that we can go back. That's the good news. And but we have to see things and hear things we've not seen or heard before, ladies and gentlemen. So a symbol of the purified lower emotion nature conceiving the Christ soul through the brooding of the Spirit from above. Okay, so Virgin Mary bearing the child Yeshua, a symbol of the purified lower emotion nature conceiving the Christ soul through the brooding of the Spirit from above. Okay, so quote, and blessed is she that believed, for there will be an accomplishment of those things which are spoken unto her from the Yahweh. That's Luke 135. Thus, St. Ambrose says on this passage, and you also are blessed who have heard and trusted. And for whatsoever soul hath trusted, both conceiveth and bringeth forth the ASHAVOR, the word of Yahweh, the word of God, and acknowledges his great works. And let each, excuse me, in each let there be the soul of Mariam. Mariam therefore represents as a symbol, represents the virgin light. She brought forth the light, that it may magnify the Yahweh, magnify the great Father of all creation. In each let there be the Ashasphare, the Ashaphire, the spirit that Mare represents, that purity, the virgin, that it may rejoice in Yahweh, who is the great Dolophane. If, according to the flesh, the mother of the Moeshiach is but one, yet according to the victory of light, the fruit which all bear is the Moeshiach. Okay, the Moeshiach, the royal eye that goes round, and that's our Lord's Nativity from Ive Williams. Quote, let there be active in thee, and then in thy love of Yahweh art thou being, sorry about that, of Yahweh art thou certain of thy bliss, which can never again be destroyed by the darknesses and blindness of this world. Ever and ever therein goes on the incarnation of Yahweh as in Moeshiach, the Christ. For the Father did not bear the Son only in eternity, but ever and ever does he give birth to him in the soul of him who offers himself to him. Okay, so he becomes incarnate in the soul that offers himself to him. And what the Son hath taught us in Moeshiach, Christ, is merely this, that we are the self same seed of the Son. That's sons of God. That's a code for seed of the Son. Okay, and Eckhart, to quote his in Pissima Verba, represents the Father as speaking his word, ASHAVOR, into the soul. And when the Zan is born, every soul becomes Mare, Mariam, that is the virgin female aspect. And this is actually Max Molnar. Okay, he wrote in Theosophy. So Max was very prolific in the 1800s. I got a few of his works, haven't been able to read much of them. The love principle in the soul is the Virgin Mary, symbolically, who conceives the divine and spiritual life, this love principle or ASHAVOR spirit, is called a virgin because it would not be defiled with the world's kind of love, but naturally loved the perfection in the flowing light and hated inequity. Therefore, it conceived and brought forth the divine life, which was the babe Yeshua, Jesus. John Ward, Zion's Works, Volume 3. Only when she, the soul, has regained her virginity, regained it, that's a pretty good one, but only in the spirit can we do that, you see? That's the beauty of the great mystery. Only when the shul has regained her virginity. That's shul is synonymous with soul, shul, knowledge, okay? Regained her virginity, purity, and become immaculate can the Moeshiach, man's savior, be born of her. The perfect way, that's out of the perfect way, 187. Um, Not popular with Christians, though, apparently. Uh,
I enjoyed
I,
it. Thank you.
yeah, okay. Well, you know what I mean, Ninja.
Yeah.
No, nobody's perfect. Come on, nobody's
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm not a Christian.
Ah,
I never was. You know my
right.
backstory. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're Moeshiachim. If we know the truth, we're Moeshiachim. Or the called, or the perfect circle of the called out ones was the original meaning. The perfect circle of the called out ones. You see. Okay. So I must become queen, the queen Mare, and birth to Yahweh must give. If in blessedness, for now and evermore would live. If I in blessedness forever now would live. So this is a quote. Somebody's writing poetry. It looks like Schiffler. Okay. So I believe because what Gaskell does is he takes snippets from different sources of writing and scripture, mainly scripture,
Yeah.
and brings them in here together so we can compare ancient thought. Okay, so I follow that Yeshua, the Moeshiach, or Jesus the Christ, who was conceived by the only true anointed ASHAVOR, the Spirit, born of the Virgin Mariam, and the third Diel, he after the third Diel rose again from the dead, ascended into the throne of the Son, and sitting at the right hand, that means by the power of Yahweh. The modernist does not ask for an alteration in the phraseology of these clauses. Maybe he should ask for the definition. He acquiesces in the plain statements of facts being taught as the church's message, but he would plead that in the sphere, another dirty word, of the scientific or critical intellect, they should not be pressed in their literal meaning. They are, in his view, symbolic statements, that is, statements which have a certain spiritual value. I agree that the symbolism must be admitted to apply to the diction or the election of religion in general and of the Moeshiachim or Christian religion in particular, meaning by symbolism the use of material images couched in the diction or the election of human experience, which are not to be comprehended literally by the trained intellect, but only as the best, not literally, by the way, okay, like the serpent in the garden, know what I mean? Okay, that there's something to be read into it,
Yeah.
not literally by the trained intelligence, but only as the best available expression of transcendent spiritual reality. Love it. Sigor of Oxford and Symbolism in Religion. Constructive Quarterly, March 1914. The history of the Virgin Mariam, Mary, and her functions in regard to her Zan, that's her son. Zan means infinite potential, by the way, as presented alike in the star messages, Gospels, go spell, in the Catholic tradition especially, and ritual are in every particular those of the soul to whom it is given to be the, and this is the Catholic aspect of it, because we know it's false narrative, mother
Yeah.
of God
Yep.
in man. She was the mother of the great Elohim. That was a fact. But the idea of what God is, you see, that's how it became corrupted. She was the mother of the great Elohim, who is Yeshua, because Elohim means enlightened, one who is enlightened, you see. And so that is correct in that sense, but not in mother of God. So to be the mother of the great Elohim in man, and man is a corruption also means criminal and sinner in Old English. So it's the Ashan, that means the royal eye that came down. That's what he is. That's what we are supposed to be, royal eyes that came down from the light. Her acts and graces, as well as his life and passion, belong to the experience of every redeemed Ashan man, as the Moeshiach, Christ in him, delivers him from the curse of Adam. So the Virgin Mariam in him delivers him from the curse of Keva and secures the fulfillment of the promises of the conquest over the serpent of matter. They're defining it properly. The serpent represents matter right here. Okay, and whereas as sinner he has seen enacted in his own interior experience the drama of the fall, so the anointed he enacts the mysteries represented in the Virgin. Okay, his soul passing in turn. This is from the perfect way. This is interesting. I'm going to continue, even though I see it's got Catholic influence here, and it's not. I'm going to bypass that one because I don't see any point. Well, I'm going to see where it goes. I'm just kind of curious
Okay.
here.
Okay.
His soul passing in turn through every stage of her joys, her sorrow, and her glories. Wherefore, the part assigned to Mary in the Christian evangel, that's the original word for gospel, evangel, and that's both in the Latin and the Greek, by the way, and then they changed it to gospel. Wonder why? Is the part born in by the soul in all mystical experience. That which first beguiles and leads astray the soul is the attraction of the illusory world of mere phenomena, which is aptly represented under the figure of the serpent with glittering coils, insinuating mane, and full eyes full of fascination, yielding to this attraction through directing her gaze outwards and downwards instead of inwards and upwards. The soul, as Keva, Eve, has abandoned the celestial realities for mundane shadows. That's the state of our being in the world.
Yeah.
And entangled in her fall the mind, or Adam, because the fall of Adam was in the mind first before it happened in the flesh, clearly. Thus, mind and soul fall together and lose the power of desiring and apprehending the divine things which alone make for life. And so become the true life, we should add, and so becomes cast out of divine conditions and conscious only of material environments. There you go. And liable to material limitations as well. This substitution versus the infinite, of course, this substitution of the illusory or for the real, a substitution of the illusion, that is the temporary material world, for the real, that which is above, of the in the light, the, of the material for the spiritual, of the phenomenal for the substantial, constitutes the whole blindness and loss through the fall. Redemption consists in the recovery of the power once more to be apprehended through the Trevane love, the divine love, and to grasp at that which is real. That was kind of the way I had my quote.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
This is from Anna Kingsford, The Perfect Way. That book sounds familiar, but I don't think I've had that before. It's another quote here. It is well to insist upon the true importance and value of favoring conditions in the production of ethical character. Without these, which correspond, as it were, to a mold or matrix wherein the spiritual life is conceived and brought forth, it is certain no result whatever can be assured. D. Dimsdale's Doctor, The God Which Is Man. Nature, another quote, nature and man can only form and transform. Hence, when a new animal is made, no new clay is made, life is made, no new life merely enters into already existing matter, assimilates more of the same sort, and rebuilds it. The spiritual artist, in Christ in parentheses here, works in the same way. He must have a peculiar kind of protoplasm, a basis of life, and that must be already existing. Now, he finds this in the materials of character, with which the natural Ashan or man is previously provided. Mind and character, the will and the affections, the ethical nature, these form the basis of spiritual life. To look in the direction for the protoplasm of the spiritual life is consistent with all analogy. The mineral supplies material for the vegetable for the animal for the material, or excuse me, for the mental, and lastly, totally,
And reconnected.
it's reconnecting. Are we
Yeah,
back on?
yeah. So it should
We're
just
back.
continue on.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And so continuing here, I'll just back up this to upon is that in the natural Ashan man, this mental and ethical substance or basis of spiritual lifeless, excuse me, is spiritually lifeless. That's been the problem of man. However active the intellectual or ethical may be, from the point of the view of this other, life is dead. Okay, the protoplasm in Ashan or man has a something in addition to its instincts or its habits. It is a capacity for Elohim, or that is enlightenment. In this capacity for Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, lies its respectivity. It is the very protoplasm that was necessary. The chamber is not only ready to receive the new life, but the guest is expected, of course, and that's right out of our scriptures, of course. Until he comes, is missed. That's what we're talking about, the spirit, not the physical. They got
Yeah.
everybody looking for
Yeah.
some physical body coming back when he's spirit,
Yeah.
and what they need to be looking for is the spirit. That's what the new covenant is all about. Okay, thank you, Ninja, for seconding that, because I know you got it.
I got it.
A divine Mhm. A divine element, a spiritual quickening is required for the evolution of anything Elohimic like in our mundane sphere.
Wow.
It is a virgin birth. That's it. The virgin birth that is in the mind, and then in our action and in our statements. Lower acting upon lower can never produce a higher. It is the downpouring and incoming of the higher to the lower which produces through the lower the divine uh, maturity, which leaves the brute behind. This is the sense in which it is true that Yeshua was and is the divine travain as well as the earthly parentage. R.J. Campbell, The New Theology. And Campbell is profound. I'd love to get his book one day to read all of his wonderful quotes. And so there we have the different aspects of virgin. We've now completed that definition, 4 of them on there, Ninja. So, okay, there you go. And we could touch on symbol real quick if we want to have 2 short definitions. We
Okay.
have some friends hanging on with us. And Rhea, good to have you on the broadcast up there in Alberta, Canada. And anybody else out there, good to have you. And we're making lemonade today. That's what we do every day when we're broadcasting. Take those lemons that you can't even suck on, and then we turn it into wonderful lemonade. It's sweet, okay? Because knowing things that we've never known before, hearing things we never heard before, allows us then, we got to compare the apples, oranges,
Yeah.
lemons, and tangerines, and grapes. I want bananas all on the table, please. I don't want to just look at apples and oranges, because I know there's more to the story. And so we have to hear some things we've not heard. So in the book of symbolism, and what we, of course, try to do with that is to get people to see things in as symbols, to see everything in front of them as potentially symbolic of something. Like the tree is symbolic of the sun, earth, and moon. The tree is symbolic of the cosmic tree of all the stars in the cosmos. We've got a family tree, and so the serpent again is everything, and so by getting these pictures, then we realize how life flows, how the spirit flows through all things, and is speaking in a higher addiction, a form of communication that is based on symbol. And then we ended up with the alphabet, the letters that represent these higher forms. And so nature is speaking, the stars are creating pictures up there, and the letters, symbols create pictures as well in the ASHAVORs or words. So we'll do two definitions here, and then we'll wrap it up, unless there's any further comments or questions, or if somebody wants to call in. 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. Just like the movie Pocahontas, The Spirit of the Winds. Okay, there you go. That's good. The traditional people, they spoke in metaphor and symbol. They sure did. And as D. Brown, I think it was D. Brown that said in the book, what was it? Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. I think so. She said that a good translator could make a Native American look very poetic, with all the imagery, and then a bad translator could really botch up the job, of translating, and it would sound very primitive and pathetic, So depending upon how one can, interpret metaphor and symbol, that is the great enigma, and that's the problem also, by the way, in our scriptures, our shultres, because we have misinterpretations. And one of the classics is when Yolganun John, he says that regarding Yeshua, he says, "There's one coming after me, whose shoe I am not worthy to unloose, whose sandal I am not worthy to unloose." But literally, that's an idiom, and what he should have said was, "There's one coming after me, whose inheritance I am not worthy to receive." And so they probably did that on purpose, because as we know, they hide the light, and therefore they wouldn't want us to get that picture. And we're stuck on unloosening a sandal when it's about taking an inheritance, to becoming one with the Trevane, with the divine, with the great spirit of life. Okay, and they didn't want us to know that we could be a part of that heritage, of that inheritance. And the spirit is the earnest of that inheritance, by the way, as according to scripture. So we're in the book of R. We did Rahab last time, and I wanted to get through these other two in the R section before I move on. And just so we're on radiance, and we talk about light here. So radiance, it's radiating. The light is radiating. Blanchard has suggested that there is an interesting connection between radiance and earthly glance and starlight. In itself, a brightness or radiance is always felt to be supernatural, like a message standing out clearly against a negative or neutral background. Brightness is, of course, related to fire and to daylight, both in their positive and in their descriptive aspect. And then rain, and then I wanted to read rain because obviously that's a powerful symbol as well.
Yeah.
Okay, rain has a primary and obvious symbolism as a fertilizing agent, and is related to the. And by the way, we can hear in rain, sovereign. You see the sovereign, because it's about the rain of light, the first rain, and that is what I want to say, the rayon. The rayon is the more primitive of the word rain. It's missing a few elements there. It's the rayon, and it's the rayon, the rain of the one, the light of the one. It's all of those aspects in there in metaphor and symbol. Okay, so rain has a primary and obvious symbolism as a fertilizing agent. So the light would be fertilizing our brain then, right, Ninja, in that sense, you see?
Yes.
If we're talking about fertilization. So the light is fertilizing our brain, and the water is fertilizing the earth, and also water is a symbol of truth. Okay, so rain has a primary and obvious symbolism as a fertilizing agent and is related to the general symbolism of life and water. Apart from this, but for the same reason, it signifies purification. We just talked about that, the Virgin, not only because of the value of water as the universal substance, as the meditating agent between the mediating agent between the non-formal or gaseous and the formal or solid as an aspect which is common to the all symbolic traditions, but also because of the fact that rainwater falls from the sky. And here it says heaven. You see, they're using the word heaven, but it's sky, clearly. And the rain falls from the sky. Hence, it is also cognate with light. Oh, okay, because that's up in the
Wow.
sky
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Two kinds of rain coming down: the atomic rain and then the gaseous rain of water. This explains why, in many mythologies, rain is regarded as symbolic of the spiritual influences of. That's why we talk about the early rain and the latter rain in the spiritual tradition, right? Because the light is going to rain down on us. It's the light that's fertilizing our minds. Okay, and try it again. This explains why in many mythologies, rain is regarded as a symbol of the spiritual influences of the sky descending upon the earth. In alchemy, rain symbolizes condensation or albification. Albification, alba, means whitening. Alba, white. So albification means the whitening, the purification. Again, okay, further proof that for the alchemist, water and light were of the same symbolic family, and therefore confirms one more time what I said about the river of light, right? It said that a river came out of Eden, which correctly is the atom, and the atom is the sun, and a river flowed out from the sun and parted into the four directions. You see? And so there you go. The water, river water symbolism is synonymous with light flowing, and therefore you're getting the picture, Ninja.
Yes. That just confirmed something for me.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. Do you want me to share? Will I share?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, I sent you uh, a picture today, Desert.
Okay. All right.
I might put it up as a little video on my channel if I get time. Um,
Okay.
I sent you a picture of a new flower in my, I don't want to say garden, a new flower in my backyard.
Yeah.
um,
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
the freesia is my favourite flower. Has been my entire life. There's always been freesias nearby in my life. They grow wild in Port Macquarie, which is where I am originally from,
Mhm.
and they're in my backyard. They started flowering a few weeks ago, and they were mostly red and pink. Um, and they're almost finished. There's only a few left. But today, suddenly, um, a pure white freesia was in the garden. It's still there. I got a picture, um, and I've never seen one before. I've never ever seen a freesia that is was so pure and so bright white. And when you were talking about whitening and purification, that just uh, shouted out to me that it was a symbol, nature
Right.
speaking, a symbol. Do you think?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah. It's a gift of the great Elohim, you might say, right? The symbol
Wow. And it
speaking to
didn't,
you,
yeah,
right?
there was not a mark on the flowers or anything. It's perfect. It's just perfect. And it just appeared today. I didn't notice, because we go for a walk around the backyard every day to um, keep it tidy and just enjoy the flowers while they're out. And I never noticed it until today, and it's all out in full bloom. Yeah,
Wonderful.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. The simple things
Yeah,
sometimes make so much. The flower, of course, is the symbol of the sun and the symbol of light. Notice how flowers always and plants always want to turn towards the sun.
yeah,
They know the value of the sun, but we turn away from it symbolically because we've been just given the notion that it's some kind of what do you want to call it, material, plasma, and it but doesn't have any spiritual or symbolic or original nature. Where, like, okay, where did that come from? Where did we come from? Where does the planet come from? Where's the moon come from? you know, and they want us to think it was a big bang. That's the Jesuits. The Big Bang come from. We did that earlier. So we On this broadcast, we must be the only ones because I've never heard anybody ever declare that the light is the source of all of our creation and our solar system, with perhaps the exception of the gaseous orbs that probably came in from the outside. But the planets, you know, the moons, they are the children of the sun. They came out from the light, and there was even a YouTube where they got, the NASA got on a scope the sun giving birth to an orb with a 100,000-mile umbilical cord attached to the orb and feeding it, continually feeding it, and then all of a sudden it broke away, and literally it was captured on film. And that's when I realized visually that was the answer. That's where we had come from, the mother star. The stars giving birth to baby planets and moons. They all serve a purpose with creation effect. Like just like all the planets that are close to us and energy. It's very supernatural in that sense. Just like we know that when they turn on G5, we are affected by it, though we can't see
Yes.
it. Right?
Yes, they
We know
turned
it.
it on here
Yeah,
without
it's the same.
our knowledge or
Yeah,
consent. Yeah. Yeah, and
right. The same thing.
yeah, I
You
can
know.
feel the difference. I can feel the difference since they turned it
Right.
on. Yeah.
So okay. Yeah, no doubt. And so we have to know. It is possible to know and know that you know that you know. And I don't ever use the word believe because I don't believe anything, because believe is Latin. It means to give little credit to something. And so we have to put on knowing, ladies and gentlemen. And I can tell we've been buffering. I got a bad screen now. I'm going
Yeah.
to refresh it and
Yeah, my
hope
phone
that
was
fixed
buffering.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fixed it.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
And so we're winding down here, Ninja, and I don't know if there's any where else you want to go, or if the phone didn't ring, so we don't have any questions out there. And I just hope that people are doing well out there. And we know our friends in California are under threat, immediate threat, duress, and coercion. We're all under threat, duress, and coercion to some degree. And I certainly am, by just being, a broadcaster and a truth teller, and actually, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
breaking their what they've worked a lifetime and thousands of years, to cover, is the original story, and so we're spelling it out. It was meant to be known. Yeshua is the revealer. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. He has put this before me, through my journey, and I couldn't deny that I was seeing these things, and therefore had to follow the trail. He put me on the trail, and so I'm